There, copyright. There was actually a new burger I wanted to try, but I think it's at Sonic's, not at Checkers. So I am just gonna have a big Buford for dinner. I hear there are restaurants across the country that do have truck driving pull-throughs. And I think in Texas there's an actual McDonald's you could drive your truck through. Not here in Florida though. Yeah, as a truck driver over the road, never really ate that healthy, obviously. But I am looking in the future to possibly do a little bit better in my diet. Just sometimes you're stuck with fast food. That is just how life goes. Broke my mic also. I gotta redo that. Today's video is just gonna be a little bit of food. I really don't like eating on camera, but I will just because I need to get some information out to people that are already supporting the trip through PayPal and people that are just learning about the trip. What is the trip going to consist of? Today, I have been working on the logistics of everything. I put out a video, Nissan Leaf, Chevy Bolt. Two inexpensive EVs that a lot of us started in. And none of us have actually graduated up the ladder to the modern day EVs. Got some people's opinions. You know, the Chevy Bolt people love their Chevy Bolts. Some people have Chevy Bolts and Nissan Leafs in their family, kind of like we have. We have a 2017 Bolt and a 2021 Nissan Leaf, and my son drives a 2013 Nissan Leaf that used to be mine. They're both great cars. They both can do a lot. The Nissan Leaf, though, is restricted. For those of you that drive gas-powered cars, it's nothing to drive from one side of the United States to the other side of the United States. You know, you fill up your gas in the morning, drive a few hours, put some more gas in, drive a few hours, get a hotel room, next day do it all over again. Nowadays, in modern day electric cars, they do the same thing. They leave with a full charge in the middle of the day, cruise another couple hundred miles, get a hotel room, and just over and over and over. It's the same thing. The Nissan Leaf has an Achilles heel. It's the battery. Now, they all have pretty much the same size batteries. Like, I have a 62 kilowatt hour battery. My girlfriend's Nissan Leaf has a 60 kilowatt battery. And they should be able to do the same things. But modern day, and even the Chevy Bolt, the 2017, had this, where the Nissan Leaf does not have this, and that is active cooling. Liquid, kind of like a radiator does in your gas-powered car, keeps the engine cool. In modern day EVs, there's liquid cooling to keep the battery cool. The Nissan Leaf, Nissan just decided against that. To keep the cost low, to keep the it's an entry-level EV that doesn't, they cut corners. Put it simple, they cut corners. Nissan cut corners to keep the price level down, which they shouldn't have. The Nissan Leaf has a bad habit of, if you do multiple charges in a day, specifically on a long road trip, the battery starts to warm up. And then when you go to charge on a hot battery, it charges very, very slow. It's kind of like having a movie theater, right? Let's say you have a movie theater. You're right up, you're in the front, and it's easy to get seats because all the seats are empty in the theater. But as the theater starts to fill up and heat up a little bit, and there's only a couple seats here and there, the little electrons or whatever they are have harder times finding their spots in the theater. And it's kind of like that with the Leaf, and it heats up really fast. The only way it's cooled is from the outside temperature. When you're driving, the air blows underneath, and the air keeps the battery cool. On a hot summer day, it doesn't really work too well. And the heat generated off the road, heating up the bottom of the battery, some days, and it could be 100, 105 degrees outside, that battery's already at 105 or hotter because you've been driving a little bit. You may only get one fast charge. It's not good. So let me dig into this burger real fast. I did tell them no mayonnaise, and just like any good restaurant that listens to you, they put no mayonnaise. That's a big Buford, y'all. Let me take a bite. It's not what I wanted, but still so good. All right. This is how I'm doing it. For those of you that are supporting me in PayPal, or supporting me by giving me thumbs up on videos and watching the videos, I have 14 days. That's what I have. I'm going to try and do this trip in 11 days. From Florida to California and back in 11 days. If you're in a gas car, easy peasy. If you're in a modern day EV, no issues. You know, Teslas, bam, bam. Any car, Chevy Bolt, my girlfriend's Chevy Bolt, no problem. Nissan, it could be a problem because you have to let the battery cool. And sometimes if it's hot at night or still warm out, that battery's not going to cool that fast. You wake up in the morning and it could still be pretty warm, even if you're not charging, just because there's nothing cooling it. So my plan is I'm going to try and make it to California in the allotted time. But I have to make it back to Florida on the 11th. So I'm leaving the 2nd of November, returning on the 11th. If I don't make it, there's a certain point across the United States where I go, you know what? I can't make it to California and make it back on the 11th on time. If that happens, that just means the Nissan Leaf could probably do it, but not in a normal amount of time, which would suck. I want to prove that it could do it just like any other car. So let's say I can do it. Awesome. You know, no issues. But let's say I only make it to Phoenix, Arizona, not quite to California. I only make it to Phoenix in the first 5 days. Am I going to make it? I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm going to have to turn around and drive all the way back to Florida to make it back in 5 days, home on the 11th day. It's just going to be tough. So I am going to, if I'm going to play it out. It's going to be, that's why I'm leaving in November. Hopefully the weather's a little bit cooler. The battery doesn't heat up so I can do it. You know, obviously in the summertime, it's going to take a little bit longer because you're going to have to let that battery rest for a day or park in a parking structure to be able to keep the battery cool at night and let it cool off a little bit. But I don't know if I'm going to find any of those. Maybe some old, country towns have parking structures you could park in. That'd be great. But my goal is to do it all in 11 days. So let's say let's say there's no feasible way for me to make it to the California border even, or maybe just Oklahoma City. What if I could just make it to Oklahoma City? It takes me 5 days to do that. Drive 1,000 miles. It shouldn't. That would be ridiculous. But my goal is to leave on the 2nd and be back in Florida on the 11th, whether or not I make it to California or not. I'm going to attempt that 11-day period round trip. Can it be done? I don't know. I'm going to give it a shot. And I see everyone's telling me it can't be done. I think it can be done. It just depends on the time of year you're willing on doing the trip. If I can do it in any other car. But my goal is to do it in a Nissan Leaf. The one car they say can never do road trips. We'll see. I do have the adapter, so I could charge at CCS, which that's another thing. CCS charges faster than the Chatamos at all the stations. I'm getting right up there at 70 kilowatts an hour for the first part of the charging before it starts coming down a little bit. Where if I was just charging with Chatamo, most of the time I'm getting like 32, 38 kilowatts, which would keep the battery cooler. I'm going to be charging using the adapter more, which will keep the battery warmer. It's gonna be a game. I'm making the whole trip a game. I'm hoping you guys tune in for me or for the trip. If you want to show some sponsorships, I do drop my PayPal in the videos, and it's going to be exciting. Is it gonna work? Stay tuned and find out. I just wanted people to know that I may not, for the supporters that are kicking money in for the trip to help with hotel accommodations and some charging. It's an adventure, that may not be able to be completed. I want to prove that it can be done, but there's no positive way to say it can be done in the time frame that I have, which I have 14 days, but I want to do it in 11, just so I can go home and get ready to go back out here in the truck again. 11 days, Central Florida, Southern California, and back. I'm worried. Trust me, I'm worried, but I think it could be done. We'll just have to wait and see. And to all those that are supporting so far, thank you guys so much. I see them all. I'm doing the screenshots on PayPal, and you guys will be given shout outs as I head off on the trip. I may even get a t-shirt made with all your guys' names on it. Well, not on the front, probably on the back. So I'm going to do a Nissan Leaf road trip shirt type thing, a hippie road trip, and supported by, and have all you guys on the back of the shirt. I think I might do that. Anyway, until the next time, I'm going to go ahead and finish up this food and come up with more. I'm just so excited for this trip. I can't wait for it to happen. I'll see you guys later. This hamburger's calling my name. This big Buford. And their fries. They make good fries. Peace, everybody.